Do you sometimes look at your bank account at the end of the month and you're wondering where all that money went? Are you looking for ways to save money, make better use of all the money that you earn, and spend a bit more wisely? Well, listen up closely because in this video, I'm gonna give you 23 ways to save more money. Now, we all like to spend money, right? And this month, I had a challenge of surviving on $10 a day. And during this challenge, I was able to pay a lot of attention to my spending habits. There is often nothing more crippling than having financial insecurity, and there's no bigger waste than spending money on useless things. Now, I'm gonna give you 23 ways that you could use to save up more money, be more mindful of your spending habits. So let's take a look at the 23 ways that you could use to save more money and spend less. Number 1, go cash only. Oftentimes when we have a debit card or a credit card, we can just put it in the machine and then it gets deducted later. But when we make sure that we pay everything in cash, we know what our budget is, we know how much we're spending, and we can make sure that we stay on track and don't spend too much. So if you're going to shop or if you're going to spend, just take the maximum amount of cash that you think you would need and leave your debit and credit cards at home. Number 2, give yourself an allowance. It might seem a bit childish, but if you have a certain allowance that you're gonna give yourself daily, weekly, monthly, you can keep track of your spendings and you can make sure that you're not spending too much. That way you can track it, you can measure it, and you know how much you're going to spend daily, weekly, and monthly. Make sure to make it a rule that you're not going to overspend over your allowance. No exceptions, no extra spending. Only on things that are really urgent or you didn't take into account. Of course, when you're going to decide on this allowance, also leave some room for some fun money or things that you can really look forward to. Don't make it only about the essential things that you have to spend money on. Also give yourself a little budget in that allowance to be able to spend on the things that maybe you don't need, but that you want to do and that are fun and exciting. Because if you deprive yourself and sometimes you offer yourself something fun, you will actually think it's more exceptional and you will even enjoy it more. Because if you keep on spending money on fun things, it takes a bit of the specialness of that experience away. Number 3, put a part of your paycheck in savings. Make sure that you decide that a certain amount of your income or your paycheck goes to your savings. That's the long-term money, that's the invested money, that's the money you put aside. Just as when you have a lot of money in your wallet, the chances that you're going to spend more are higher because you think, I still have so much money left. The fact that you still have so much money in your bank account will make you say to yourself, oh, I can spend a lot of money because I still got a lot of money in my bank account. And you're gonna have that urge to spend more. So make sure that you transfer a part of your paycheck to a savings account. That way you will have less money to spend. Number 4, track your earnings and expenses. In the beginning, when you want to check your spending and how much you save, you want to take a look at what you spend money on and how much money is coming in. It's a matter of making it into a habit. Everything that you spend money on, your receipts, you're going to keep them and you're going to look at what you spend money on. That way, it will help you determine where your money is going. So write down the categories what you spend money on. Food, maintenance, your home, family, going out. What you're also going to keep track of is your income. How much money is coming in weekly or monthly. That way you can take a look at how much money is coming in and how much money is going out. So it's very useful to set yourself a maximum amount of money that you're going to spend. Preferably also a maximum amount of money that you're going to spend daily. That way you can track it daily and see if you're overspending too much money and what you're actually spending money on. 5, use spending apps. A great way to be able to track your income and to track your expenses is to use apps. There are some amazing apps that you could use to track your expenses. I dropped the links of the spending apps that I'm going to mention in the description down below. Feel free to check them out and let me know which one was the most useful for you. Now, there is a bit of a difference in the spending apps. Some spending apps also can be linked with your bank account. Especially in America, there are some great spending apps that you can link with your bank account, so automatically those things are taken into account in the spending app. So I'm going to give you 4 spending apps that you could try out, test them, use them on your smartphone, and it's a much easier way to make sure you track your income and your expenses. The first one is Mint. You can go to mint.com and you can download it, and you have a lot of possibilities with this one. You can also link it to your bank account if you're in the US or certain countries that it's useful to link your bank account with it. And you could also set like a budget monthly. You can see what you spend money on and you can track it with some nice graphs. You can also access it online in your browser, so it's a great tool to check out. Another great tool to check out is also You Need a Budget. It's kind of the same as Mint. Mint is very extensive, so maybe you like You Need a Budget more. Check it out. You can also link it with your bank account. You can keep track of your expenses. It has great graphs to track your expenses. And you could also use it on your desktop, so it's a great tool. It is very similar to Mint. Those two apps, Mint and You Need a Budget, really provide a lot of ways to make sure you can track your spending expenses. If you want to keep track of your expenses as a couple or as a family, what is also a great app is Good Budget. That way you can set an envelope, a certain budget that you're going to use to spend each month. You can also follow up the expenses. So if you want to track your expenses together, Good Budget is a really great app. You can share and sync your budget with your significant other or with other partners. So it's a great app if you want to check your spending and saving behavior together. The last one is Wally. That's the one I use because I live in Europe and I can't sync my bank account with Mint or with You Need a Budget. It's also a great tool that you can just keep track of your expenses. You can put different tags and different categories. So it's also a great tool that you could use on your smartphone, not on a desktop yet, to make sure you become aware of your spending habits. So down below, you can check the links of these apps. Check them out. Let me know how it goes. Even if you're going to track this for a month, it's really going to provide you a lot of insight into how much money you're spending and how much money is coming in. Number 6, distinguish between your wants and needs. If you're going to spend money, really ask yourself the question, do I really need this? There are so many things that we want, but it all costs a lot of money and we worked hard for that money. So we want to ask ourselves the question, do you really need this item? Because with every purchase choice that you make, it makes sure that you can't invest in other things. And if you are not investing in essential things and only in things that you want but do not need, you're really not investing in the right thing. If it's a want that's going to make sure that you can't invest in a need, give priority to your needs first. And figure out what your needs are if you don't know yet what your needs are. Number 7, think of your spending in terms of hours and not in terms of money. If, for instance, you're making $10 an hour and you're going to spend $2 on a coffee, that is 12 minutes of your working time, of your working life that you invested in that coffee. That puts it in perspective. So whenever you're going to buy something, don't just think in terms of the money. Think how hard you had to work for it. So if you're going to buy something very expensive, it's not just the money, it's a certain amount of hours that you worked for it. Because you deserve to have something very pleasurable and meaningful for all that effort you've put in to earn that money and now finally be able to spend that money on something that is important for you. So think about this in terms of the effort you put in, the hours you worked, and not just the money. Number 8, set long-term goals and prioritize. Really think in the long term, what person do I want to become and what kind of things could I invest into to make sure that that person becomes a reality. It all can seem like fun to just blow money out of the window and invest in things that are fun, but oftentimes it's just immediate gratification. It's fun at the moment, but in the long term, it's not really beneficial for us. Some of the questions you could ask yourself, because these questions are really important in the long run, are some of the following questions. Is this going to help me build wealth? Is this thing going to help me to develop certain skills? Because if you're going to be wealthy, not only financially wealthy, but in generally wealthy, it's going to help you in the long run. If it's going to help you practice some skills, becoming more competent, it's also going to help you in the long run. Is this thing going to make you fulfilled? We can go for happiness at the moment and gratification, but if we want to be fulfilled at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of our life, it's really important to set long-term goals, prioritize, and make sure we make spending decisions that will make us feel fulfilled. Before you make a purchasing decision, think of the impact it will have on your life, not only your current self, but also your future self. Number 9, shop with a list. Make a list of all the items you want, but especially need to buy. Write them down and only go looking for these items. Because if we don't have a list, we're just going in a shop or in a supermarket, we're strolling around and we're putting more things in our cart than we actually need. So just write down the list, write down the things you want to buy, and just stick to them. Don't buy anything else. Number 10, shop without a cart. Have you noticed that the carts are getting bigger and bigger? That is because when the cart is bigger and we can't carry it, we are putting more and more things in this cart. So if you're just gonna carry the things that you wanna buy, or you just put them in a small basket, as soon as that basket is full, you're gonna say to yourself, I have bought enough. So limit the room, limit the things that you can buy, so you really only buy what you intended to buy. So if you can, just carry your items or only take a basket. Number 11, buy things in bulk. Oftentimes, you can get a discount if you buy things in bulk. So if there is something that you buy a lot, it's better to buy a big quantity and just buy it in bulk or buy it all at once. If you have subscriptions and you're gonna pay the monthly subscription and you know that you're gonna use it in the long run, it's better to just buy it in bulk. A lot of times you can get a huge discount if you buy things with a membership in the long run, or you're gonna buy things in bulk. Number 12, leave and come back. Oftentimes the emotion of buying something is very high and we make a lot of impulsive buying decisions. So one thing we could do is leave and come back. Then we can really make sure that if we're going to buy it, it's really a well-thought decision and it's not just an impulsive buying decision. So take some time to let it sink in. Take 24 hours, and then if you really like it, you can always go back the next day. A great way to do this is you're not going to take cash or you're not going to take a debit or credit card with you. You're just going to walk through the store. And then you can look at the things that you really would like to buy, but you don't have any means of purchasing it at the moment. That way you can go home, really think if you need this, if you want this, and then you can always go back. Number 13, institute a cooling off period. Related to the previous point, take some time to cool off because our intention to buy is super hot. We're really super motivated to buy it. And then before you know it, you have that buyer's high. And often when we have a buyer's high, we want to buy other things because we think this would be nice or this and this. Is this a need or a want? Is this aligned with my values, my long-term goal, and the priorities I'm setting with what I want to spend money on? Number 14, avoid your spending triggers and environments. Maybe you always run past a bakery or a coffee bar or a snack bar, and these things always remind you of a certain behavior, or it's always the path that you follow and it's so hard to resist. Or you always pass by a night shop, that's your route on the way to your house or in the evening, and you're always tempted to buy a snack or buy some beers. Avoid environments that tempt you to spend money on things that you don't need. You can have this afternoon snack syndrome, or you do a certain route when you went to the gym and you pass by a certain store, and every time you pass by that store, you're buying something unhealthy. Well, the best thing you could do then is just avoid that environment, avoid that temptation trigger, and just choose a different route. The best way to avoid temptation is to make sure that you don't even see the temptation. So limit these temptation triggers and environments. Number 15, pay as you go. If it's possible to pay at the moment itself, it's better to do it than if you're going to pay it in advance. Because we all know it, I've been there myself, when you're going to buy a ticket for a plane or for a hotel, we don't take into account that we actually paid for it. No, we already paid for it in the past, so we're not thinking about the money that we're spending. But if we want to be more mindful of our money, it's better to pay as we go. Just as the same thing with the cash, that you see how much money you're spending. If you pay as you go, you see how much money you're spending. So if you can pay as you go and not in advance, it's a better way to really be mindful of your spending habits and spending behavior. Number 16, don't spend at the end of a terrible day. That is something which is called the HALT syndrome. If you're hungry, angry, tired, or lonely, you're more prone to spend. So it's not good to buy something when we're in this mood, because we will overcompensate for that negative feeling that we have, and we want to overcompensate it by buying something. So we want to put a halt to buying something when we have these halt feelings and emotions. So if you're in this negative mood, be mindful of what choices you're going to make, and don't overcompensate by buying something to get rid of those uncomfortable feelings. Number 17, do meal prep. A lot of money is being spent on meals, but if we're gonna do meal prep, meal preparation, and we're gonna prepare our meals in bulk, we can save a lot of money. We don't have to spend money going to a restaurant or a snack bar. We already come in prepared. So prepare your own food, pack lunch, pack your dinner sometimes, and you can save a lot of time and a lot of money by doing some meal prep. If every 3 days you're gonna prepare your lunch for 3 days, you can save a lot of money, because all this money that you're saving on those little things or on the food that you buy, when it compounds, it really can come down to a lot of money at the end of the month. Number 18, eat out of your pantry. A lot of times we still have a lot of food in our pantry, but we keep on buying new food, new packages, and we never really use it. So a good way to really not spend more money on food, but really making use of all the packages, food, ingredients that you have, is to take a look at everything that you have in your pantry and first make sure that you made use of everything that is in it. Else we're gonna keep on stacking things on each other, and then we look at the expiration date after a year or 2 years, and then we realize how much stuff that we had that we never really used. Number 19, opt for vegetables instead of meat. When we look at the food expenditures, the most expensive thing often is the meat. So if we can put in more vegetables, we can save a lot of money. Plus, it's also healthier. Number 20, cool it with the takeout. Taking out food is maybe convenient, is maybe easier, but it costs a lot of money. If we would do the meal prep ourselves, we can save a lot of money. If you're gonna order takeout several times a week and you're gonna look at how much money that costs and how much money you could save by doing it yourself, it's best to ease it with the takeout. Do it on special occasions, or sometimes go to a restaurant to celebrate something, but it really is the lazy way and the most expensive way. When you're going to choose to meal prep yourself and you're going to make some healthy meals, you will A, save a lot of money, and you will also be eating a lot healthier. Number 21, make your own coffee. Just as with the takeout, if you would just make your own coffee, don't get me wrong, I love coffee, but if you're going to take a look at how much you spend on coffee each day, each week, it really stacks on each other and it comes down to a lot of money. So if you could make sure that you prepare your coffee yourself, you could also save a lot of money. Number 22, go out less. If you're going to take a look at going out, if you're really going to go to parties, the entrance fee, how expensive the beers and cocktails are, all that money you're going to spend in the weekend, you're really spending $50 in a night of going out. Now that's a lot of money, not even talking about how much of your weekend you're wasting, how unproductive you're feeling the next day, and how much time you're wasting. If you're only going to look at how much money you're spending just partying, it's actually a lot of money that you could be investing in something else that's meaningful. Me personally, I don't really go out that much. I go out to have a chat with people, but I don't make it too late. Also, because I want to have a steady biorhythm, I want to be mindful of my energy and time, and I want to be productive and feel energized the next day. But just besides that, a lot of people tell me they don't have money, but every weekend they go out clubbing or they invest a lot of money in things that in the long run aren't really beneficial to them. So be mindful of how much you go out. If you go for the cocktails, how much you're spending. I mean, it should be a celebration of hard work, so there's nothing wrong with partying. But if that is your lifestyle, look at how much money, time, energy you're spending in going out, and if it's really helping you in the long run. And number 23, don't spend the money that you save. If we feel that we have money and we're going to lose it, we have a loss aversion. We don't want to lose it and we don't want to give it up. But if you gain money or you get something back from taxes, we feel that we gained it and that it's an extra. And then we have an urge to actually spend it. So this is a tendency that you should counter with seeing that money that you gain as money that you already had. Same thing with this challenge. If you're gonna do a surviving on X amount of money each month, you're gonna save a lot of money. But look at it as money that you already have. At the end of the month, if you're gonna save a lot of money, that's money that you already have. If you're gonna look at it as money that you gain, you're gonna have something like, oh, I might as well just spend that money now that I gained. So try to cultivate loss aversion. See that money as something that you already had. So that was it. These were 23 ways that you could use to save more money. Let me know what method really worked for you by dropping a comment below. If you know any other tools, any other methods to save more money, feel free to drop them below in the comment section. Be sure to be mindful about your spending habits, and then you can really make it a choice, save up money to really invest in the things that are really meaningful, beneficial, useful, and productive for you. Hey, it's Phil from Houte Bootcamps, and if you like my channel, don't forget to subscribe and check out some more videos about how to install good habits, quit bad habits, and get rid of addictions.